A couple of misconceptions. Let's talk about payment. So, for some reason that I don't really get, I kind of do get it, I guess. There's some misconceptions swirling around that voiceover pays really badly. Has everybody heard this? No?
No, I've heard the opposite.
It's the highest paying career in the U.S.
Awesome.
Versus acting.
Okay, good.
Easiest money I ever made, actually.
Usually, when I speak to acting groups, this is one of the first things I have to contend with. Is they all look at me and go, "Doesn't it pay crap?" Keep this in mind. There are a lot of cut rate, bargain, discount, auction style companies out there that are getting involved in voiceover. Every day, every week, we run into some new desperate way to get things booked that some person somewhere in the country or world concocted to make money. They're a joke. And I know that this exists in other areas of acting too, but I think with voiceover, we're really seeing people getting bent over. I mean, it's brutal. You've got people who are trying to hawk VO for $15, $30. I mean, it's atrocious. You gotta be smart and you've gotta keep your eyes open. The average professional in voiceover does not work for less than $100 to $150 per job. Now, when I say a job, I'm talking about a commercial. One. Singular. That will air in one local market. Charlotte. That's it. It's quick. You're in and out of the door in less than a half an hour. If you're recording at home, you're probably done in 6 minutes flat, and you can go take the dog for a walk. Okay? It's really simple stuff, but you've got to think about that. You've got to uphold a standard. We've got a lot of folks right now who are driving down the rates of this industry because they're accepting cut rate offers. The reason they're accepting cut rate offers? Because they're not very skilled.
And
so they're just happy to book something. But they're killing us. It's not good. In terms of what is fair and what is reasonable, and again, these are questions I get asked all the time. What should I be charging? What's too much? What's too little? Okay. Is everyone familiar with AFTRA?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With what?
AFTRA.
Extras union.
No.
Extras union? Are you kidding me? No.
Wait.
It's American Federation of Radio and Television.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking, what was I thinking? I was thinking...
You're thinking Actors Equity, maybe. You're thinking of, like, Canada.
Equity is stage, also
Yeah.
No.
What is he thinking of?
Maybe I don't know.
Crack.
Maybe I just...
Well, really, that was Kevin. My bad.
It's cool. You basically, with AFTRA, you have a series of guidelines that are set up very similar to SAG. You have scale. The thing that most voice talent promote is a very simple understanding. When a client goes through an agent or a casting director to book you, provided you are a union talent, if you are a new union talent, you don't have a lot of experience under your belt, you haven't really built up a reputation yet, no big deal. The client is going to get quoted scaled. Whatever scale is for that particular job set forward by AFTRA's scale. Okay, easy enough. But here's the catch. Please keep this in mind. If you are a non-union actor and you quote a union rate, you are still quoting 30% below minimum the total paying price if the job were union. Does everybody kind of understand this? Because SAG works the same way. Everybody gets a piece of what you do. You're a commodity, guys. I know this is a horrible thing to say because we're human beings, but it's the truth. We might as well be stock. All right? The way this works is that a percentage gets added on to everything. So if scale is, and I think this is like this one of the scale markers right now, it's like 582.62 is a regional ad. 10% gets added for the agent. 16% gets added for AFTRA that goes to union dues, fees, social security, blah, 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 blah.
How much percent?
16 typically. 7% gets added to the signatory. Does everybody know what a SIG is? You should. Your SIG is your union police. The signatory is a third-party representative that is brought in from outside the industry to police both involved parties, to make sure that everyone's on the up and up. It protects you. The SIG basically makes sure that if Verizon Wireless hires you for a 13-week run advertisement, the second that ad goes into its 14th week, you get a residual check. Who the hell do you think's keeping track of this stuff? It doesn't happen by miracle. Somebody's making it their job to make sure everyone gets paid in accordance with the union's regulations. The union can't do it, it's a conflict of interest. You can't do it, conflict of interest. Has to be a third party. They get paid for it. Okay? So there's another percentage that gets tacked on. Now, God forbid, it's a third party casting, which means it's snaking its way down the pike. There's an advertising agency involved. There's a production studio involved. There's some other casting entity involved. They're marking up another 20 to 30%. Your scale commercial is costing the client close to double. How much are you making? Oh, we've gone way beyond the borders of voiceover now. Trick question.
I was told there'd be no math.
50%?
You're still making scale. You're making that flat rate, $562 and change. But when you've added on all these percentages and all these fees and all this crazy hoo-ha, the client's getting a bill for $1,100. You ain't seeing a dime of that money. You're still getting paid $562.82. So, as a non-union talent, scale doesn't cut it. Scale doesn't cut it because if you just charge scale, you're missing out on the damn markup everybody else would have been making off of you if you were actually union. Pocket it yourself.
I like the way you think.
It's all business. It's all about maximizing earning potential.
So you're saying if you are union, you're making that $565, and if you're not union, you're making.
You should charge
No,
more.
she's saying if you're non-union, you should quote
Charge
a higher
scale
price.
plus an additional percentage. Don't make it astronomical.
Oh, because
But charge a little bit more because
Right.
here's the thing. The average scale union actor, honestly and truly, doesn't work for scale. It's scale and a half. It's double scale, triple. As you start climbing the ranks, it gets even higher. Most talent, the first quote your agent will make if you're union is scale and a half. So scale is always your guideline, but it's just that. It's a guide. It helps you set the balance. It helps you create a system whereby no one's being taken advantage of and you are keeping in line with what the rest of the industry is doing.
Right.
Now, when you're talking about, and this is really for big jobs, this is how you keep from having some ridiculous situation happen. Look, how did I learn all this crap? I got burned. I screwed up. I accepted an offer, I don't know, 13 years ago, God only knows, for a job that ended up paying me, I think, $100 for a commercial that's still in use today. Why was that a problem? Because it was a buyout. And because my happy ass didn't know what that meant. Sure, I'll sign the papers.
I got a job.
I'm calling my mom. She's so thrilled. My daughter, the actress. Great.
question.
Yeah, question. Does that mean you have to keep track of your own residuals then? Your own 13-week cycle or whatever?
Here's the thing. If you're non-union, odds are pretty good you're not open to residuals. Residuals are a right that is typically exclusively reserved for union actors unless you negotiate your own contract. If you negotiate a contract, then you have a greater chance of being able to enforce something like a residual.
So
but it's difficult.
if you're non-union, then you could consider a forever buy if it's more than.
Correct.
Is that correct?
You can consider a buyout if it's worthwhile, if the dollar amount is correct, if it makes sense for you to do so.
Or a recurring buyout of I mean, hypothetically, you could say, if you continue using it after 2 years,
Precisely.
a second buyout,
Yeah.
et cetera.
It's
Because
it's a restricted buyout, basically.
Right. Well, most buyouts that I've seen contracts for are, the standards will buy it for a year, and
Precisely. And that's what's pretty common for most non-union situations. However, the words you have to look out for are in perpetuity.
then in perpetuity.
Yeah,
That's a bitch.
that'll burn you. So you got to be careful. You've got to know these things. You also have a lot of clients that try to play stupid. They assume that if they play dumb, you won't know any better, and you'll let them walk on you. Got to be smarter than that. You've got to look at the fine print, so to speak. The other thing I say to people about voiceover is volume talks. When you are negotiating rates, really be conscious of the longevity that the work has, the potential for longevity. When I talk to smaller clients, when I talk to, I have one client who's an advertising agency in Wausau, Wisconsin. I couldn't even point this out on a map if I needed to. And really, really teeny tiny company. They wanted to work with me, and I said, look, guys, I tell you what, I'll take the deal, but here's what we have to have happen. It's got to be worth my time. I'm not going to jump to get in the booth if you call me once every 6 months with a $50 spot. There has to be something more to this. So we contracted a retainer use. They send me 10 spots a month at $50 a pop. I'm okay with that. I'll do it. Why not? It's volume. Volume makes sense, and it comes with a commitment. Jobs like telephony that we were talking about before, IVR, prompt, things with these retainer bases, it's the same deal. If there's a volume of work at stake for a long period of time, consider dropping individual rates to ensure the longevity of the contract.
Sure.
To make sure that it sticks around for 5 or 10 years. It makes it worth your while. So don't be afraid of low numbers as long as they come with more than just a one-off, which is just a single-time job.